Hey everybody, I'm Trevor.
I'm Big Wayne.
We are the Anthony and Todd Show. Today we're going to be talking about the longly, highly anticipated Lil Wayne's The Carter 5, otherwise announced The Carter.
I thought it was Carter 5.
Tech Carter.
Tech 9.
Tech 9.
Yeah.
Dwayne Michael Carter Jr., aka Wheezy, aka Lil Wayne, is a New Orleans rapper that was a huge force in Southern hip hop in the Bling era. Hits like Go DJ, Lollipop, A Milli, Drop the World, made him known across households all across America from the mid to late 2000s. And his 2008 album, The Carter 3, so there's obviously not starting off at the fifth Carter, because there were more before it. It won Best Hip Hop Album at the Grammys that year, and it was also nominated for Best Album of the Year as well. Lil Wayne has been hyping this album for multiple years. He finally won a legal battle with Cash Money Records and Birdman, and now he can release his music.
He also gets Birdman's talents as a result.
This project has 23 tracks and an hour and 27 minutes worth of content. Lil Wayne is, in my opinion, the reason I didn't get into hip-hop when I was younger. And I hate to be like that. I've been thinking about this and rehearsing, like, saying that all week. When I was a kid, like, you know, growing up in those late 2000s era, that's like when I started, you know, like 5th grade is like when you start to kind of find your own music, right? Yeah. So you're not just listening to like whatever is on the radio when you get into your mom's car. That's like when you've started to kind of explore for yourself. You can buy your own CDs. You can listen to your own stuff on iTunes, download your own music. Hey, you have access to the internet, like, you can explore more things, but like when you're young, you're not going to explore super deep into the culture and to music. Some of my favorite albums came out like during this time period, and I just never knew. I had absolutely no idea when I was younger because like I just didn't explore into the internet as far as I could. But what was playing on the radio, Lil Wayne was the king of hits. We had things like Jay-Z, obviously. Kanye dropped a lot of amazing projects during that time. But who was on every single radio station?
Cat Williams.
It was like Lil Wayne and these one-hit wonders. Yeah. And that was like the age of like 2004 or 5 to about 2008 or 9. Yeah. And that's all it was on the radio was like Eminem and Lil Wayne. And granted, like, I liked...
And Cat Williams.
I liked Lil Wayne, or I liked Eminem fine, but I did not care for Lil Wayne. And all my friends were, like, just bumping him all the time, and I could not grasp it. And I think I just gave up on hip-hop because of Wayne. So it's really weird for me to return to this project, like, to listen fully to a Wayne project and give my opinion on it, because I feel like I've been like bittered by years of like, why didn't I get into hip hop sooner?
See, because like I have a similar experience, but I also like I enjoyed some Lil Wayne tracks growing up, but I also thought Lil Wayne I associated with people who I knew that listened to Lil Wayne, and it was people who I would not associate with myself today because they were pieces of shit. And I associate Wayne's music with that, but I also associate Wayne's music as kind of like the stepping stone into weirder stuff. But not in a good way. Kind of like Wayne was like a bad stepping stone that was decrepit in order to get like Quelle Chris.
I guess I can see that, but I also can't, because I think that we just descended in the iconic victory of Kanye's graduation over 50 Cent, whatever that was called.
50 Cent.
Curtis or something?
Curtis Mayfield's.
Yeah. He overtook the Bling era. But I think that Lil Wayne was just had a death grip on the Bling era. He's like, I'm not going to let it go.
He's like, I'm not going to let go of this Bling era.
I mean, he just like did not want to let go of the past and did not want to let go of the Bling era. And he dragged us as a society along with it. Like with our Monster energy drinks and our Osiris shoes and our Cookie Monster flat bills. He took us down. And now
that was too close to home.
Yeah, it was extremely close to home. That's where we were. But like, Also returning, and like I guess enough of the background. Lil Wayne was super weird. I didn't like him, and so it was weird for me to come to the Carter 5 because so many people hyped it up. Even my manager, like a different manager at work, said that the Carter 3 was her favorite album of all time. Of all time. And I'm like, that's crazy to me to think that like so many people liked Lil Wayne so much because his lasting power was not a lot. He did not hold a lot of staying ability within the music industry. People that listen to Lil Wayne back in middle school are the ones that are bumping Migos now, and cannot get enough of like these trap rappers. But Lil Wayne back in the day, like I'm sure they're not listening to that anymore. That's like a huge throwback jam to them that they have to listen to like the Spotify playlist to find. The Carter 5 feels like a step forward for Wayne.
I feel like it is a step forward for Wayne, but he's also doing the same stuff he's always had, but I think now it's just more concise. Because being open about this, I think this is a good album. I think this is fine. It's like an okay to good overall.
Yeah.
Not to give away the score of what the record is, but this is an okay to good because I think this thing runs in like an hour and like 24 minutes, and it runs into that Drake Migos territory that we love so much. But the thing about this is that Wayne, throughout this entire thing, delivers. Some of it I just find pretty meh at the worst. I think he's constantly delivering fine performances through this entire thing, fine production, but he's doing the same stuff he's always had, which is not just against him, but now I think he's just kind of falling into a territory of production and styles, and the fact that he's kind of a relic of past era and the new trend is trap. I think maybe it's part of him he looks good in comparison, but maybe it's part of it is he has matured as an artist and he has able to mature his flow as an artist and he has different styles, because there's moments on here where I'm genuinely blown away by Wayne's lyricism and his performance.
Yeah.
Moment taken Mona Lisa with Kendrick, but also Let It Fly with Travis Scott with his nasaliness, where I thought he was desperately sick off lean and we needed to get him some help.
I almost called 911 while listening to that song. I had to make sure he was okay.
But like there's moments on here where I'm genuinely blown away by Wayne's performances and his kind of depth. This isn't like Kanye level of honesty like Pablo or like Ye, but it's like something kind of etching kind of closer to that.
Yeah.
Moments like the intro with I Love You Dwayne with just Lil Wayne's mom is fucking heartbreaking. The amount of like pain she is showing with her, just like her honesty and performance. Going into Don't Cry featuring XXXTentacion. Jesus Christ, why is this good? Why is like his last track on this earth good? The one good one. Like he's taken out and now he's got
his
last
decent
track
music. I thought his hook was a little weak, but his verse was actually really solid. There's only so much I can hear. Don't cry.
But like I think that's more of the Trippie Redd style emo rap, which I'm totally accustomed to at this point. I'm fine with.
I think it was worse than Trippie Redd. I like.
Oh, it's not as good,
I like
but
Trippie
it's
Redd because he's not as nasally. X is completely like super nasally. He's got like gigantic tissues shoved up his nostrils.
I'm not saying this is the greatest performance in the world, but I'm saying this is X's best performance.
It's X's best, yeah.
But like, I also think it works in the context of everything and the motion and the passion, and it has built up to the track. And so like, you're going on this emotional roller coaster, and it isn't just like, don't listen to this album because you're gonna be sad and stuff, and then you're just going to, I used to play guitar and listen to Nirvana, and then like stuff like that. Now it's just like, oh, Lil Wayne's mom's crying on a track. Oh, now we're in a lyrical depth because this track has like two mediums, because it's talking about X's death and it's talking about Lil Wayne's mom's pain and Lil Wayne's pain and him maturing.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool. Other moments I like, Dedicate, Uproar, are just two lost relics of the bling era, as Trevor told me in a text message to quote his words. And I think Dedicate is probably my favorite of the two. I really love Swiss Beats on Uproar. I love his performance.
You know, if I had to add one thing to Uproar, it would literally just be Lil Jon. I've never once wished for Lil Jon in my life, but I really wanted him on Uproar. I was like, this would be so much more hype if it had him on there. But yeah, I just love like reliving that little era.
Honestly,
like
you wanted to know what the thing I actually wanted on here? and I never thought I would ever ask for it. I think Drake would actually be pretty good on Uproar. Just on that beat, because it would be like it would be like nice for what, and Drake and Wayne have worked well together before, and they have chemistry.
Yeah.
So like it would make sense for him to be on it. Let It Fly with Travis Scott. I think Travis Scott's getting a little bit too oversaturated at this point with just his style and the fact that he's kind of doing the same performance. But I think overall this is like one of the catchiest hooks he's dropped all year, just solo wise on his own. But I think he has a pretty decent performance, and then Wayne just kills it with his nasaliness and his speed and his talent and his aggression. Going in some later moments, I think Nicki Minaj actually does a great job on Dark Side of the Moon, because I don't really feel like she's that present on the track. So
I actually really didn't like this track at all. I didn't think Nicki Minaj was in her best element. I think that her singing is better than her rapping, but I still didn't enjoy it. Also, they kept singing intergalactical, and that's not a word.
Intergalactical, planetary.
It kind of lost a little bit of its feeling and meaning because they just kept saying intergalactical, and that's honestly just not a word. That's like
It's not a word.
It's not. It's annoying to like hear them just say it over and over and over again. It also didn't really. It felt like forced feeling to me. And I think Lil Wayne can do feeling well. I think Don't Cry and I Love You, Dwayne, as you mentioned, are more emotional tracks.
I Love You, Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
But here, The Rock is nowhere to be found. And,
0 out of 10.
And I just felt like it was like forced cheesiness.
Yeah. I think that's all forgiven with Mona Lisa featuring Kendrick Lamar. God damn. This is one of the best tracks of the year, in my opinion. The way it's set up.
It's incredibly well said.
It's just like Wade started off, and I'm like, I'm actually into this. And then Kendrick shows up. I didn't know Kendrick was popping up in this track because I wasn't looking. I was just listening. I'm like, what? We're going 900 miles per hour now? What the fuck? I was already like going 100. And Wayne's setting up this narrative about how he's dating, or how he has this girl kind of doing like secret activities for him and doing espionage so he can steal this other guy's stuff. And then we hear Kendrick's rebuttal to that, which is the opposite side of the narrative, where he's just threatening for revenge at this point, and it's really cool. Kendrick and Wayne work super well together, and I never thought I would ever say that. No. And I never thought Lil Wayne would blow me away with his lyricism, but on this track he fucking blows me.
Lil Wayne stood there and went
the entire like, 5 minutes. And then Kendrick showed up and he was like he was sucking it in.
The rebuttal. They cleared out that air in no time.
I also like What About Me with System, and I just find it to be ridiculously catchy and just kind of stupid.
Yeah.
But after that, I think Open Letter's okay, and I think everything after this just kind of is for me.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. A couple of other notes. Open Letter, I think, went on for like way too long.
Yeah.
It was literally just like reading Lil Wayne's diary. It was like, today I ate a sandwich and I drank some lean.
Then I skateboarded.
I saw
and played
Kendrick
guitar.
Lamar. That guy's really mean. That's like the end. I practice guitar.
I'm in your top 5 best guitarists. It's me, Kid Cudi, DJ Mustard, Post Malone, and Kurt Cobain.
It just like wasn't good. I thought Problems was one of the weaker tracks on here. I didn't really like it. I guess that goes into another point I was making. Some of Lil Wayne's auto-tune on this record sounds surprisingly really cheap and like not very well produced.
Because auto-tune's expensive. That's why you gotta get auto-tune elements.
But I think he spent all of his money on cough syrup and didn't have any money left for the auto-tune.
And it sounds expensive. Little Pump says his cough syrup's more expensive than my rent. I don't even pay anything, so it's pretty fucking cheap.
I think that sometimes his production is kind of cheap sounding and kind of cheesy, especially in the auto-tune realm.
Yeah.
Moving on, Snoop Dogg here has one of his best verses in years, in all honesty. I think that his albums as a whole just aren't super good, except for like The Dogfather. And after that, No, Doggy Style was good too.
I think it was everything after Doggy Style.
Doggy Style, and I personally like the Dogfather, and everything else is just kind of bad. But Snoop in the last couple of years has been all right on features. I mean, thinking about some of his most prominent features, like here, he had one last year that was actually pretty decent. Welcome to the World of Plastic Beach, I thought was a pretty decent feature as well. Just whenever he's like utilized, he's working with Pharrell for a while.
Yeah.
Like Snoop's actually all right.
Yeah.
So I actually enjoyed hearing Snoop on here because it just felt like another like relic of like, here's two old timers that are hanging out.
They're gonna have crutches and they're gonna play badminton.
Pretty much. Took His Time is a pretty decent track as well, and I think everything else from there is pretty meh.
Except for the Sampha sample on Used 2.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
Sampha's one of the best parts of the album, I think, and he doesn't even get any credit.
Yeah.
He's not even named.
It's 'cause it's
he
his-
won the Mercury Award and then just
Get
That's
out.
it.
That's it. Lil Wayne, you're sampled on Lil Wayne, but you don't get mentioned.
Lil Wayne is sampled on Sampha.
It's actually XXXTentacion on it. Don't cry, and the sample goes, "Don't cry" on top of it.
Why did he say it like that?
Please don't cry.
Don't cry.
Please.
Is he German? Don't cry.
Please don't cry. Just eat some
bastard.
sausage. But overall, I think this thing's actually like fun. I had a lot of fun with it.
I had fun. For
could
the
use some-
first like half.
It could use trimming though. And again, the most meh moments on here aren't bad.
No. Why is Ashanti on here?
Because she's a relic.
Yeah, but what the heck? A relic of mystical, like.
Why wasn't Mystical on here? There's
he's
so many
a relic.
artists that needed to be on here. Little John, Mystical,
Well, I mean,
Big Sean.
it honestly like goes into a good point here because this album I think is stuck sometimes between what it should have been or what it would have been and what it is now. Because if the Carter 5 was made in a decent amount of time, if it was made in a timely fashion after the Carter 4, when Lil Wayne is still gaining steam, still pretty much at the peak of his popularity, it would have had artists like Snoop and Ashanti on it. But literally, it would have had like Mystical. It would have had it wouldn't have had X. It wouldn't have had Kendrick or Travis. It would have had a Little John. Just the artists that would have been used. This probably would have had a Soulja Boy feature, if we're being honest, and it really should have. It really should have. It probably should have had a Bobby Shmurda feature. I mean,
so many good features.
the Carter 5 could have been a huge relic. It could have been a time capsule, but coming out at the time it did, and Lil Wayne fighting the battles that he did, and coming out with it in 2018 versus 2008, or 2009, like whenever the Carter 4 was released, probably a year after it would have come out. This probably would have taken on a completely different turn. And sometimes I feel like I can spot those moments on here. Tracks that were obviously made sooner, like the track with X is not an older track. The track with Kendrick is a little bit older, but not super old.
Yeah.
But then tracks like with Snoop easily could have been made like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Or, like 8 to 10 years ago. Track like the Ashanti track, the Nivea track could have been made like 8 years ago.
Whenever you buy
and was just
lotion
stuck
last.
in here. Yeah. With the lotion. Just for men. And I think maybe that's why like the production sounds a little cheaper and the autotune sounds a little cheaper. Sometimes I feel like the stitching isn't as good.
Yeah.
But most of the time I think it's a pretty flawless stitching of old material and new material.
Yeah. But yeah, I had fun with this. That's all I want to really say. I think Lil Wayne impressed me a lot, and that's surprising to me that I had this much fun with it. And there's moments like Mona Lisa where I'm completely blown away by everything. Yeah, I'm feeling okay to good on this. I think this is fun. Definitely recommend you try it. I could see some people definitely hating this though. or
Cool.
just I don't know, because X is attached to it, or the fact they don't like Lil Wayne in general. But definitely try it out, because if you're unsure, at least just listen to Mona Lisa, because that is one of the most fire tracks of the year.
Yeah.
And the narrative they tell is really interesting. So I'm going to leave it at that. If you want to hear us talk more about music, we host a weekly podcast called The Anthony and Todd Show, the best of the show in audio form. Take us with you on the go. I'm also going to put links up to what album we can put up right on the screen right now. What album? What album do you think would be good? And tell me why it isn't Drake's Scorpion, because I already decided for you. I'm going to put Drake's Scorpion, Travis Scott's Astroworld. Those are the reviews that are going to be on screen right now. Click on them.
I was going to say Astroworld.
You're going to say Ass World. But until next time, guys, I've been Vincent.
I've been Trevor.
See you, boyos.
Bye, everybody.